I wanted to do a quick video that reveals and talks a little bit about the Mandela effect, and so I'll try to be clear and concise with that. But first of all, I want to show you this place. This is a beautiful area. It's one of the canyons in Sedona, near Arizona. But anyway, this place is just gorgeous. I hope you can see it. There's a lot of spiritual stuff in Sedona, just stuff everywhere. In these canyons, when I was here before, I found just all sorts of amazing spiritual formations and rocks and everything like that. There's not a whole lot in this area I'm at here. I like this area because it's a little bit more private as far as cleaning your mind and cleaning your spirit. And that's the thing that I got to tell you is that I had to get out of Vegas just to come to somewhere like here where I can, only heal by flesh, but also heal by my spirit, my mind as well. Because I tell you, it was so negative influences there that I was just worn out. I wasn't feeling well, both physically because of the heat and trying to survive in that heat. And thank goodness for a sister. She helped me out a lot. I used some of her funds to help me get out of Vegas, so thank you, sister. And also for some other things like that. So I had to just get out of there. I couldn't, you can only get worn out. I mean, you only take so much before you're worn out. So anyway, I don't mean to talk about that. I want to talk more about the Mandela effect, okay? Now, what's really interesting about the Mandela effect is that I want everybody to realize, for me, I'd realized something had changed before I saw videos, things changing in history about John F. Kennedy having 6 people in the car versus 4, history changing and all the different types of music changing, all our history being changed. Because I woke up one morning, it was about 2016, and that's when we actually think the Mandela effect actually occurred. Now, if it happened before or after in your timeline, that may have been true because history had been rippled behind us. But the majority of us think that around 2015 and 2016 was the true date of the Mandela effect, and the time rippled back behind that one, okay? So that people who said, well, I saw it before in 2002 or whatever, that's probably because you're affected that ripple in time in history. It doesn't matter, but we've pretty much narrowed it down to about that's the time frame that we think that the thing actually rippled and occurred. And we don't think it was 2012, the Mayan calendar. Because actually the Mayan calendar we think actually was off by 4 years. It was around 2016, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it happened or this and that. But so let me explain to you my story. So I woke up one morning in Erie, Colorado, and I had a really lovely house. Like I said, it had a swimming pool, it had a 5-car garage. It was just huge, 5,200 square feet. I was working as a software engineer for Kaiser Permanente and things like this. Well, anyway, I woke up one morning, like I said, and I went in the backyard, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I felt like this wasn't my home. I said, man, what? And it's really weird because think about it, I lived there for probably about a year, and I thought something's not right. It wasn't just the backyard. The backyard was same. It had the same grass. It had the same trees. Everything was in the right position, but something just didn't feel right. I was like, this isn't my home. I'm at home like Earth, in my entire existence, my entire reality, my entire everything. I said, there's something wrong here. And that's weird for you just to come out of the blue and feel that and sense that. So I really was concerned. I was like, oh my gosh, how do I get back to my home? Because, and some of it could have been that the sun had turned white, but I didn't look at the sun at that time to see, the sun used to be yellow for many of us in our old reality, and it became a bright white. And and that's the thing is, and even like if you look at these plants, I don't know if it's a sun exposure or what, but they don't look lively like the plants and the trees that I remember my old reality. I mean, they're there, but they have like a glossy, these ones have a glossy, like white, fakeish shine to them. They almost look artificial. And other people talked about this because that's something I noticed. Something is not, they're not fully like real. You know what I mean? I know they're plants and they're alive, but you know, these, I mean, look at these things. I mean, it'd be hard to tell on my camera. It's on my cell phone, but you know, I noticed that the trees and everything just didn't seem like the old Earth reality, that everything was just kind of artificial, you know what I mean? Like even these grass blades and everything like that, it just doesn't have the luster of being alive. Well, anyway, that may have been one of the things I noticed. So trying to think about what made me feel, there's a feeling in my heart and soul too, that was not my original reality, Earth, or timeline. And I don't know if you experienced that because, and also I just things didn't seem right. I was looking, so I started looking for home. You got to realize this is before I found out that the Lord was real and God was real and became very spiritual. I started saying, well, how do I get home? I started looking at trees. I'm like, how did I get here? And as I started to like kind of climb through a tree, like Winnie the Pooh, and I'm gonna find is there a rabbit hole like Alice in Wonderland? I can get back home. Is there a portal? Is there something else I can find? Because I said this isn't my original home. And I didn't want to talk to my family at that time much about it. You know, my former wife at that time, she just wasn't really with it because I actually mentioned to her a couple of times. I said, you know, I don't know what happened, but I have a feeling that this is not my original home or Earth. And she didn't really thought I lost my mind, but she got really angry and aggressive about it. And then she started to admit to it. I said, you know, this place has a ton of churches, people very spiritual. I said, what's going on with this place? And she said, well, maybe they need churches and spirituality in this new Earth or whatever that you're talking about, this new world. So it's really weird that she became, and then she attacked me later on, that she said I was a conspiracy theorist and she's all over the place with this. And I didn't want to tell my mother, my brothers about this because I said, oh my God, they think I lost my mind if I tell them that this reality is not, this is my original home, right? So then I noticed that my colleagues at Kaiser had changed their behaviors, still the same people, but their behavior where they're more aggressive and kind of just nasty to me, really kind of dark, you know what I mean? And they were not always the easiest people to get along with, but I mean, this thing had the ball had swung the other way outside the field, you know, on me. The pendulum had swung on them, like they became very negative and aggressive. And I was trying to do some software engineering for Kaiser. You know, I was a website deployment engineer. And but anyway, so I noticed the Mandela effect before I saw any historical facts. So then, like I said, one day, as I mentioned, I was looking at online, and somehow I came across some article for John F. Kennedy, and it said that 6 people were in his vehicle instead of 4, and I thought, you got to be kidding me. I said, what has happened to I said, either I've lost my mind or I'm on a different Earth. I said, this makes no sense to me. I said, what is going on here? I said, I almost freaked out. I said, oh my God. I mean, could you imagine? I don't know what happened to you when you first found the Mandela effect. If you, because at that time, there was little information on it. This is around 2016. And I'm like, oh, I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, what is happening? I said, this is unreal. So I started to do research. I'm like, God, am I the only one that knows that this isn't right? That there was actually 4 people in John F. Kennedy's when he shot and killed in Texas. There were 6. And you know what? I searched everything. And to be honest, people that claim that they've been talking about the Mandela effect and have been around for a long time, I can tell you that is not true because I found 2 articles. And guess what they even talked about? The first article they even talked about, one of them talked about Nelson Mandela. I mean, one of the articles' YouTube channels, and I can't remember who the original YouTube channels were. And then another one talked about John F. Kennedy. And the other one talked about, like you said, Nelson Mandela. And that something had happened and that he did not die in jail, that he actually lived on. I said, well, God, I know that wasn't true. But anyway, so I watched the video on John F. Kennedy. And there was no Fiona Broom, and she claims that she's been talking about this for years. And I don't know if there's a different reality or time had changed after that. But there was no Fiona Broom because I did major searches on Mandela effect, parallel realities, shifts in time.